Hello. I've definitely never done this before, have I? I've definitely never made this video before. Have I ever? Oh no, I've never done this before. No. Hi. Anyways, we're gonna be doing the Honkai Star Rail character sorter because I'm unoriginal and I'm out of ideas. So we're gonna have some fun now. And this time, instead of only having playable characters, I'm also including eons and upcoming characters because I think it's funny. Oh, I just realized there's no NPCs on here. Let's not do that, shall we? Okay, anyways, as I was saying, we're gonna be doing the Honkai Star Rail character sorter because I'm out of ideas and I'm unoriginal. Are you gonna suffer through it with me? Yes, you are, because you're here for a reason. Anyways, I'm doing this because since I've done this the last time, there have been a few notable changes in characters I like and characters I don't. Obviously, that's always what happens. As you play the game, people go up and down in your rankings. So I wanted to redo the character sorter about 6 months since the last time I did it, just to keep track of how my opinions have shifted and if I've gone from only playing Honkai Star Rail as a hot woman collection game. I think I have. We'll see. Anyways, let's get started, shall we? Still and March 7th. I actually like March 7th more. EB. I also like Ved more than Himiko. We like Apta more than the little hurtlings. I always like Stell more than Kalis because I don't play Kalis. Serval more than Gipod. I hate Hook because she's a kid, so we're picking Natasha. Yanxing is not as annoying as Sampo. And Jingshui, actually, I like more than Ting Yun now at this point. I hate Bailu because Bailu is a child, so we pick Sushang. Silver Wolf is kind of funny, so I'll pick Silver Wolf. And then Blade over Yukong. So already we have a couple different scenarios. Last time I think Blade was towards the bottom, and I think I picked Stell over March 7th. So there's already a couple changes. I don't like Luca either, so we're not going to pick him. I have realized by now Lynx is a fun character, but I have grown to like Fushuan a bit more. I still think she's a bitch, but she's less of a bitch by now, and she's not a kid, so, you know, Topaz and Jingliu is evil. How dare you? Both of them are hot. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's gonna be a tie. Oh, I disabled ties and undos. Never mind. We're picking one. We're picking Topaz. Argenti and Whaaaaat. We're going with Argenti because why not? Dr. Ratio and Ron May. Oh dear. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but as characters, I like Dr. Ratio more. The voice actor for Dr. Ratio is a dick. I hate him. But as characters, I like Dr. Ratio more than Ron May. You can kill me for it if you want. I don't care. Also, Black Swan over Sparkle and Acheron over Misha. Aventurine is a snide gay little bitch, and I love him for that. And Boot Hill is a Texan through and through, which I don't like Texas, but I like him more than Kalis. Firefly over Jade any day of the week. March 7th beats Jiao Cho just because she's March 7th. And Fei Xiao is hot. Anyways, Rappa is an instant yes. I'm actually going to pick Kalis over Fugue. And I'm going to ruffle some more feathers with this, but I'm going to say Aglaya over the Herda. Casterus over Mighty, Hyacine over Anaxa, Cipher Supremacy over everything, and Hysilins over Archer. Evernight, my beloved. Yao Guang is funny as hell, and Thalia is annoying, so we're going to pick Yao Guang. And Sparksy over Ashvale. Evanesia is cool as hell, but I will say, I do think that Silver Wolf level 999 is a bit cooler, but in-game, actually, I do like Evanesia's voice acting a lot more than I do Silver Wolf level 999's. That's the one thing I've always disliked about Silver Wolf is the voice acting. I know the voice actress does her absolute best. She does a phenomenal job. It's just a phenomenal job in the wrong direction by my taste, so I'm going to go with Evanesia. I like Stell more than Blade, Elio, and Neolux. Is Elio getting added to the game as a character? I don't actually know. I'm going to pick Neolux because Amberly Connors is the GOAT. Obsidian is IPC, but we're going to go with Pearl because you never met Obsidian. Amber or Agate, I think I've heard more about Amber. Sapphire and Sugilite. We're gonna go with Sapphire. I don't know either of them. March 7th and Kalis. We're gonna go with March 7th. Stell and Kalis. Also Stell. Welt and Don Hung. I'm gonna go with Welt. Himiko and Don Hung. We're going with Himiko. Asta and Pom Pom. Pom Pom can rot at the bottom of the deepest crevice of hell. For all I care. Even Herda is better than him. Stell Preservation is better than Arlen because Arlen is a kid. Even Kalis is better than that. Bronya, my beloved. Pela can die. I'm picking Hook over Pela. Yanqing and Clara. Clara, I think, is one of the only kids in game who will get a pass just because she is a cute kid. Like, if I were to meet most of the children in this game in real life, I would punt them off of a bridge. Clara, however, deserves a hug. Jingchui over Shushang. Tingyun as well. Zila over Silverwolf any day of the week. Blade beats Luocha. Yukong does too. Kafka is mother. And Topaz beats the shit out of Fushwan. So does Jinglu. Winifin and Argenti. Ooh. Usually, I mean, I already picked March 7th over the Trailblazer, but usually I would pick a 4-star over a 5-star. However, I don't like Argenti's characterization. I think he's a good character and a well-written character. I just don't like him that much. So I'm going to pick Winifin instead. Dr. Ratio and Hanya. We're going to go with Dr. Ratio again. Ron May over Hanya because Hanya just looks like a fucking weirdo in that image. Shuye and Black Swan. Going to Shuye. Aventurine is a funny motherfucker, so we're picking him over Acheron. Acheron over Gallagher, though. Gallagher over Misha. Robin and Boot Hill is ironic that they're together because that's actually a very popular ship. Personally, I don't agree with it, but I can understand the appeal. But I also like Robin more than Boot Hill. Stell and Firefly is also a ship which I do very much like, and I like Firefly more than Stell. Stell more than Jade, and March 7th more than Yun Li. Yun Li more than Xiaoqiu, and Robin beats Rappa beats everybody. Mostly everybody. Fei Xiao, picking her. Motse actually over Ling Xia because I think he's more bearable than Ling Xia. Sunday I'm not really a fan of. Kill me if you want. Stell and Aglaya. We're gonna go with Stell. Treeby is a child. Asterisk. But also Mighty over Treeby. Cipher Supremacy. Hyacine over Finon. Naxa and Finon. I'm gonna actually go with a Naxa. And This is a tough one. I've never watched Fates, the series. I've never watched the anime. I know nothing about it. I just like Saber as a character, but I think Hyslens is better. I know more about her. I also like Saber more than Evernight clears immediately. Danheng Permanent Sword Terre, I like him. Yao Guang over Cyrene. Cyrene over the Dahlia. Evanessi over Sparksy. SW999 over Sparksy as well. Dell always over Kalis. Blade over Kalis as well. Himiko Nova. So Himiko Nova, I think, as of release of this video, has yet to come out. I think. Don't quote me on that. Because I haven't actually played Honkai Star Rail in like 2.5, 3 weeks now at this point. I will say, I do think that Nihilux, I like Nihilux as a character better than Himiko. The more Plain Arcadia I've played, the more I understand Himiko's characterization, and I can appreciate how they treat her. However, from the brief things we've seen, as well as character design, I think Nihilux is a better character. However, I'll go with the Himiko over Elio because Elio is an Eon. Pearl over Opal because Opal looks like a fucking kid. Obsidian over Opal. Amber over... I don't know anything about the IPC actually, so I'm just going to pick random ones. Sure. Welt and March 7th. I'm going to go March 7th. Stell as well. Welt over Kalis. Himiko over Kalis. Danheng over Kalis. Stell over Asta. Asta over Kalis. Herda over Kalis. Kalis over Pom Pom. Pom Pom over Arlen. Bronya, my beloved. Serval also over Natasha, I think. Gepard, we'll put Gepard over Natasha as well. Qingchui over Clara. Tingyun over Clara. Shushang over Clara, sure. Bailu and Clara. Clara wins by default because Bailu is a piece of shit. Yanqing. Sampo also beats that. Zila beats most people. I like Silverwolf more than Blade when it comes to the Delaron Hunters. That's just me personally. I do like Blade more than Jing Yuan though. Alejandro Saab is a phenomenal voice actor, but I think Blade's voice acting is, in this game specifically, better. Jing Yuan over Yukon though. Topaz beats the shit out of Kafka, so does Jingliu. Fu Xuan though, Kafka wins, I think. You'll start to notice a bit of a trend here as we get further in, that I have a lot of love for a lot of the female characters because I think their characterization is a lot better than the males overall. Some men though, like Aventurine, I think are funny motherfuckers. Some of them are like Veld, I think have a really good characterization overall. So they're usually going to win over other characters, but especially between 5 stars, normally the women will win. Sparkle is unbearable though half the time. Robin, I like Robin more than Firefly. Firefly Boot Hill I think is actually also ironically a ship for some people, which is really odd because they've never actually directly interacted, I don't think. But I know it's a ship. It's really weird. Rappa wins every day of the week, hands down. Like, there are very few characters that I think Rappa will ever lose to. Just in general. Everybody better than Kalis. I actually like Castorus more than Hyacine. Hot take, by the way. I know that both of these are very popular ships for Cipher. I like Castorus as Cipher more than Hyacine and Cipher, personally. I think that one's cuter. Me, personally, I think that. I know a lot of people have their opinions. That's just my opinion. Evernight is amazing. We love Evernight around here. I also just generally like all the M4A's characters. Call me crazy. Well, except for Cyrene, but that's just because I don't like her voice acting that much. I also don't like the Dahlia at all, really. I think the fact that Himiko has a star rating means that she's coming out soon, doesn't it? I remember she's supposed to come out at some point. I just don't remember when. Also, Pearl will always beat most of the IPC, just because, again, we've not met most of the IPC, so I don't know who to pick in that regard, you know? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Because if it doesn't, you can call me crazy, but like, Bronya over Chinchue for sure. For sure. Me when I get halfway through a video and I stop talking about what I'm doing. What a buzz. I'm only 43% of the way complete, and I've done 193 cycles of this bullshit. Doug, I should not have picked as many of these as I did. Oh my god. This is gonna take forever. I mean, it shouldn't really be that long of a video. If you're still here, hi, how are you doing? But also, wake up. I think Natasha. I like Natasha more than Tingyun. I don't like Hook. I don't like Sushang, but I like Hook less. Lara is tolerable. Yunqing is tolerable. Sampo is tolerable in this instant. Hook over Bailu because I hate Bailu. Bailu over Pela because Pela is a bitch-ass motherfucker. I hate her with a passion. You do not even understand. Oh god, Zila and Topaz. Oh no. I like both of these characters so much. I like both of their characterizations a lot. Topaz is not really a nice person, but I like her characterization. Zila is just great. However, I do like Topaz more than Zila for certain normal reasons. Zila over Jingliu, I think, personally. And Jingliu over Silverwolf. Kafka and Silverwolf will do Kafka. Fu Xuan and Silverwolf. We're actually going to go with Silverwolf on that one. Fu Xuan over Blade. Blade over this variant of Dan Heng. Dan Heng over Jingyuan. Jingyuan over Lynx. Lynx over Yukong. Yukong over Luca. Luocha over Luca as well. Dr. Ratio and Aventurine. One of the most popular ships in Honkai Star Rail, I think. And of the two, I will have to lean towards Aventurine, actually. Fun fact! Acheron over Dr. Ratio as well. Dr. Ratio over Xuye. Now, Runmei is one of those where I'm a bit conflicted because I do like Runmei a lot. Actually, I'm not conflicted. It's Runmei. All the way. I don't know why I was starting to go on a rant there when there was nothing to be said. Argenti and Shuye. We're going to go with Argenti. Shuye over Hanya. Black Swan over Hanya. Hanya over Gallagher. Gallagher over Whaaaaat. Sparkle over Whaaaaat. Misha over Whaaaaat. No. Whaaaaat over Misha. Rappa and Robin, ironically, is also a really big. I like how these are all coming at me, and they're all just like paired up in ships sometimes. But of course, as we all know by now, Rappa is one of my favorite characters. We already know that, so she's gonna be over Robin. March 7th is also gonna be over Robin. Robin over Feisha. I'm speaking really fast right now. If you can keep up, congratulations. There are certain characters where I just don't really know. Oh, Cipher. For sure. There are just certain characters I just don't like. You know? Evernight over Evanescia for sure. There are just characters I like more than other characters. Just the way it is. I know a lot of people get upset at me sometimes about the takes on characters I have and the opinions I have, but like, a man's got to have his opinions, and especially if I've never watched a show like Fate, Grand Order, how am I going to be able to have Archer high or Saber high up in the rankings, for example, when I've never played or watched or played, because I think it's a game too, when I've never consumed the media for it, you know? It's just, that's like, how would I do that? I don't know about half these. I'm just going to put the IPC over Kalis, I think. Bronya and March 7th. We're going to do with We're going to go with Bronya. March 7th over Qingque. Stel over Qingque. Welt over Qingque. Qingque wins that one. Serval and Stel. Stel wins. Himiko wins. Serval. Danheng. Dupad over Asta. Asta over Natasha. Natasha over a little hurdling. Erna over Tingyun. Tingyun over Kalis. And opinions are gone. I should not have left the different variants of the characters on here because now it's making it way too bloated. This list is going to be like it's 76 plus a tons. It's going to be really long. Like this is, oof. Boy, there's so many characters. Pom Pom, oh dear God. Topaz and Aventurine is also one of those pairings where I just don't really know or really care, to be fair. I like both of them, but I also am always going to pick the women over the men because I mean, I happen to be a straight man. I like women more than men, but also a lot of the female characters, I like the characterization more than the men. So there's that too. But there are a certain couple dudes I do think are better than some of the female characters. That's just me, obviously. Argenti and Blade. I think Argenti over Blade, personally. I'm gonna go with Blade over Shuye, though. Same with Dongheng. Shuye over Jingyuan. Black Swan over Jingyuan. Jingyuan over Hanya. Lynx over Hanya. Yukong over Hanya. I've never really liked Hanya that much, to be fair. Luca is just at the bottom of the barrel. Let's be real here. Luca is a nothing burger of a character. See, this is the one where longtime viewers of the channel are going to be like, who's he going to pick? Which one is it? Guess what? Rappa is still one of my top characters. I love her to pieces. She is my favorite, one of my favorites. So is Cipher, though. And this is so difficult for me because I love both of them so much as a character. I like Cipher's voice acting. I like how she is as a character. I like Rappa's characterization and story a lot. I think both of them are hot in their own way. That's just me, though. But I do think what I'm going to do this time around, what speaks to me more right now, is that I think this channel is going to return to Cipher Supremacy. I think that's what's going to happen. Rappa beats pretty much everybody else, though. It's like a coin flip. I literally have a standee of Rappa, but I think it's a coin flip on any given day if Rappa or Cipher wins. And today Cipher wins. Today it's Cipher Supremacy. You know what I mean? So Castoris in March 7th. March 7th wins. Robin over Castoris. Castoris over Firefly. Castoris's story in Amphorius actually is one of the few things in media that ever made me tear up. I usually don't cry on anything and over anything. Castoris' story made me tear up, like genuinely. It was wild. I know at this point that now it's past 50%, it's kind of gotten a read on who I like more as characters, so it's going to start throwing people at me in random combinations and characters who have won everything to see if they're going to keep winning. I know that much. It's going to keep doing that. Obviously, I have certain characters I like more than others, of course. Like, for example, playable characters will always win over non-playable, usually, but sometimes they don't. So, there's that too. Roll. Ooh, Mortonax, Blade, and Ashvale. Me personally, I'm going to say I think Ashvale is more of an interesting character than Mortonax Blade. Have we met Mortonax Blade in-game yet? No, of course we haven't. But I think Ashvale, given he's fleshed out in-game compared to Blade, this version of Blade, I'm going to pick Ashvale over him. I don't like the Dahlia, though, so she's just going to lose. Fun fact, by the way, I don't like the Dahlia as a character. She's a prick, and she's evil as hell. Oh god, Bronya and Topaz. Oh no. I'm tempted to say I do think Topaz over Bronya, but Bronya has been growing for me as a character the more I play the game again. Like, again, I haven't played in a couple weeks when this video comes out, but in the background, I've been doing a lot of things in the background. I said that twice, but that have made me like Bronya more as a character as I grow to understand her more. However, I do still think Topaz beats Bronya. You piece of shit. Why would you put the two wives together for me to rate? This is like one of my favorite ships in the entire game. You dickhead of a website. I don't want to pick. I'm going to pick Bronya. I will pick Bronya, though, over Seele. March 7th over Seele as well, actually. Welt, Kafka, Aventurine, Acheron, Qingque, Dr. Ratio, Himiko, Ronmei, Silverwolf, Serval, Fushuen, Dunhung, Winifin, Gepard, and Argenti. I think Argenti wins. Gepard beats Blade. Asta over Blade, actually. I think Blade over Natasha. Natasha over this variant of Dunhung. Dunhung over Little Hurtling. The Hurtling over Shuyue. It's like a flip-flop, sort of. Every single cycle, it's like flipping back and forth between the two, because it's always just putting characters I don't like against characters I like more, ironically. Which at this point, I should be able to read that and see who I like more anyways. But it's still kind of funny to see. To be fair, comparatively to like Paimon and Genshin, I do like Pom Pom a lot more. Sampo can rot in the bottom pits of hell for all I care, realistically. I hate him, but I hate Luca more. I also hate Arlen more than Luca. So there's that. Oh, you evil thing. Evernight and Cipher, though. Cipher wins every time. Rappa also beats Evernight every time. Evernight I'm going to put over March 7th, though. March 7th over Evanescia. Evanescia and Robin, I'll put Evanescia over Robin. Robin over Yao Guang. Castris over Yao Guang. Firefly over Yao Guang. Yao Guang over Stell. That variant of Stell, at least. Nailux over Stell. Himiko Nova. We don't know much about Himiko Nova. It is just Himiko, so I'm going to put Stell over Himiko. Same with Hyacine. Himiko, I think, clears Fei Xiao, though. But I do like Fei Xiao a lot. So there's that. But I really should have turned off the character alt, though, because it just makes it a lot more difficult. But some of it's also just in-game characterization, right? Like, comparatively to in-game characterizations, who do I like more between different characters? Who do I like more from in-game characterizations, right? So it comes down to that as well in some aspects. Like Kalis, I don't play Kalis, so why would I pick Kalis over other people? I'll pick playable characters over the IPC most of the time. Yun Li, though, is one of my least favorite characters in the game, but the Dahlia is as well. So, there's that. I don't like Sunday either. Not nearly as much, at least. Topaz and Cipher. Cipher wins. Rappa wins. Evernight wins. Topaz. Bronya. March 7th. Swordmaster I like more than original March 7th. Fun fact. Seele over Evanescia. Evanescia, actually, we're going to put over over Stell? No. Actually, yes, I am. Stell over Robin, though. Jingli over Robin 2, Robin over Welt, Welt over Castorus, Castorus over Kafka, Firefly over Kafka, Kafka over Yao Guang, Yao Guang over Aventurine, Aventurine over Nihilux, Nihilux over Acheron, Stel, Hyacine, Himiko Nova, Fei Xiao, Stel, Acheron, Hyslins, Qingque, Stel over Stel, Don Hung and Stel always wins. Dr. Ratio I like more than Don Hung Permanent Sorcery as well. It's a different characterizations for characters at certain points in their lives, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like certain characters, obviously I like more than other characters. I've gone over that before, but it's just hard to pick sometimes. That was one of the most popular ships of all time, I think, in this game, is Boot Hill and Argenti. I'm just kind of clicking through right now because at this point, it's getting to a point where all of the characters that come up are the matchups are matchups where one character just wins by default. You know? At this point, it's getting to that. Right? So at this point, there's not much to say either because we're also almost to the end. So it should be getting to a point where I should be able to give you a definitive winner and a definitive loser. I think it should be. I mean, it's almost done. So I think Agate's gonna be at the bottom. No, he's not. Sampo exists. There we go. All right, it is done. It is finished. All my commentary is finished. Glad. Now, 6 months later, obviously you can already see spoilers at the bottom of the screen. However, let's go over it, shall we? Number 1, of course, Cipher and Rappa, number 1 and 2, never was going to change. Those two are like my perennial forever favorites in this game. Evernight has grown a lot for me as a character. I do like her a lot. Topaz as well. I like her for her characterization and for other reasons. Bronya has grown a lot for me as a character, I think. Both March 7th up there makes sense. Zila, Avanesia, Stel, Jingliu, Robin has also grown for me as a character, so has Jingliu. Welt being the first man on here is just always going to be the case. He is the male character I like the most. Then you have Castorus and Firefly. Two absolute cutie patooties, in my opinion. Kafka is... Yao Guang I like a lot as a character. Aventurine also I like a lot as a character. Welt and Aventurine, by the way, are two characters that some of my friends have said I should cosplay as well if I ever get the chance. I might, I may not. We'll see. Nihilux, Stel again. Hyacine, Himiko Nova, Fei Xiao, Acheron. I'm just going to skip over the variants of the characters. Hysilence, Qingque has grown on me a lot. Dr. Ratio has as well. So has Don Hung. Silverwolf 999 I like more than the original Silverwolf. Surijo over Himiko, and Ronmei down here makes sense to me. Then we kind of have a lot of forgettable but notable characters. The Herda is... I know a lot of people love the Herda. She's not my cup of tea. Argenti and Boot Hill down here together, as they should be. Pearl, even though she's not playable, I do like how she's characterized. Who else is notable down here? I do think people will be a little bit offended about the fact that I have Finon and Cyrene down here at 53 and 54, but I just don't resonate with them as characters. They're just not my cup of tea, just like the Herda. Like, I know people are going to be very offended about the fact I have the Herda this low. They're going to be offended by the fact I have Anaxa, Finon, and Cyrene this low, and they're also going to be offended by the fact that I have Mighty this low. Who else is going to cause a stir? The fact that Clara is now up here is saying something, because it used to be that all of the children were down here. Speaking of which, Pela, Bailu, and Hook are my three of my least favorite characters in the entire game. I hate Pela with a passion. I cannot overstate that enough. Pela should jump off a bridge. I'm not even scared to say it, even if YouTube censors hate me. Pela should jump off a bridge. She is 103 for a reason. But yeah, if there's any comments anybody has about any of these characters being what order I have them, shove them up your ass. Because I'm not taking constructive criticism on this. This is my list. You can suck it up. But also, do let me know in the comments what you think, because it drives my engagement up further. So shove it up your ass, but also tell me what you think. I think that's been my rating for this for now, 6 months after the first one. Maybe in 6 months I'll do another one. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the ratings. I hope my jokes were funny. If not, sucks to be you. Sucks to be me. I should probably work on my material. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you people next time. Goodbye.